What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the next part in the Build the Spotify app series. In this part, we're going to start building out the search UI. So go ahead and destroy that like button down below, open up Xcode, and let's dive back into our project. So let me go ahead and hit Command R just to build and run so we can see what we have. We're not going to work on this screen anymore. We're going to switch on over to this middle tab. So right now, we really don't have anything. We have a title up here. So we need to do two things. The first thing we need to do is we want to add a search bar up here, which will have some nice animations when the user searches. And we also want to show various genre categories here for when the user actually goes and taps on this tab. We don't want this to be empty. We want them to be able to tap a genre or something. So we're just going to build up the UI in this video and not actually hook up the API. That'll come in the next one. So let's get started with the search bar. So to get a search bar, we're going to leverage something called a search controller. So I'm going to first create that search controller here with an anonymous closure. And a search controller actually not only gives you the nice search bar at the top, but it also lets you, plumb your actual search results into your search results controller. So we're going to create this here. And let's go ahead and actually see. So it has a search results controller. We're just going to pass in a vanilla UI view controller for a moment. Actually, let me go ahead and call it, let's call it results. I'm just going to drop it up here for a moment for the purposes of showing you guys what this is actually doing. And let's just go ahead and set its background color to something we can see like red. Let's see what else we want to do. Now, of course, we want to return this VC at the bottom here. We are also going to say on this view controller that its search bar placeholder, it's going to be search for, I guess, songs, artists, albums. We also want to say the search bar's style, I think is what it's called, is going to be minimal. Let's see, maybe it's not style. Let's see, we've got background color, autocorrect, bar position, tint, delegates. We are looking for, I thought it was a style, but maybe not. So here we go, search bar style. That should be minimal. And let's see what else we want. So on this view controller, we should also have a couple other properties to configure. So what I'm going to do is we're going to command click into this, and I just want to see what else is in here in case we need anything else. We've got a couple initializers, is active, delegate. We've got hides navigation bar during presentation. That's not really what we want. I think we want one more thing that I'm looking for in here, which is context. Let's see if I just do autocomplete, if it gives it to me. Yep, we want this one here, defines presentation context. And we want to go ahead and assign this to be true. And now what we can actually do in our view did load function here is we can say for this navigation controller, give its navigation item a search controller, and that'll be the given search controller. Now, if you go ahead and just give it a run right after adding this code, you'll now see that you get a cool search bar up here with our placeholder. What's even cooler is when we tap on it, not only does it animate up, but if I start typing in any letters in here, our red view controller pops up, which is where our search results should be going. Now we're going to want, of course, our own custom controller to show those results in. But one thing that you do need to do here is we do need to be able to get out of the search controller the text that was typed. So we're going to assign on here the results updater, I believe it's called, search results updater is going to be self. And what this is basically saying is that this controller needs to conform to UI search results updater, which has a single function that's required. So we're going to hit fix and bring it on in. And let's go ahead and move this down for the sake of being organized. And in here, we can actually get the query text out of the results. So we can say query is going to be search controller dot search bar dot the text, and we're going to make sure it's not nil. And I'm also going to make sure that it's not just empty white spaces. So we will also say right here query trimming white spaces. We want to make sure it's not empty, so we're going to prefix this with an exclamation mark. And finally, what we can actually do is perform search. So that would be something like API caller shared search, which we have not actually set up yet. So let's go ahead and give that a run. And let's make sure everything is still looking good, which it should be. What I'll do, I guess, here for the sake of a demo is let's just print out what the given query is. And we don't want this to be some random red view controller for the actual search results. We probably want a search results view controller. So what we will go ahead and do is under other for controllers, let's go ahead and create a new controller. It'll be a Cocoa Touch class, subclassing UI view controller. I'm going to call this search results view controller. Go ahead and create it just like that. And let's see. Oh, do we have it already? We might actually have it already. So let's go ahead and cancel that. Let's see. Did I create it? Settings, welcome, auth. Ah, we do. We have search results view control already. Beautiful. So what we'll actually do here is let's give it a background color. We'll say system background. And instead of actually passing in a random controller there, we can pass in our search results view controller. Beautiful. And what you also might want to do is you can, so in this function, eventually we're going to need to tell that search results controller to update. What you could actually do is get the results controller out by saying let results controller is going to be the search controller dot search results controller, I believe. Search results controller. And you're going to cast it as the custom controller you have. And we're going to eventually be doing something on here like update with results, which we're not doing yet, but we're just printing out query to make sure we can actually query out whatever we have gone ahead and typed into that field. So let me go ahead and open up this console so we can see it a little better. We're going to switch to the middle tab here. And if I just start typing in test, you'll see that every time we tap on a new letter, we get the created query string, the text inside of the field. And of course, we can clear this out and hit cancel, and it animates down pretty nicely. So that's our search bar. So in terms of showing the actual categories here or genres, we're going to leverage, once again, you guessed it, a collection view. So you can probably get a quick idea of like Spotify has a ton of collection views all over their app. So I'm just going to start by adding a lifecycle marker here, and we are going to create a collection view. And this collection view will be a pretty standard UI collection view with a compositional layout once more. We'll go ahead and create this. Looks like autocomplete's giving me a hard time. We want a frame and a layout. So we're going to say this is 0. Let's go ahead and line break this stuff so it doesn't line wrap a million times. We'll say this is UI collection view compositional layout. Let's see, that does not look right to me. Let's try that one more time. UI collection view, compositional layout, open up the parenthesis, and we just want a section provider. Go ahead and hit enter, and it'll tell you that it gives you the section as an environment. We're gonna ignore both of them since we're only gonna have one section. In here, we can go ahead and create a item, which is gonna be an NS collection layout item. An item takes a layout size, so we'll say NS collection layout size with a width and a height. Width, we'll say fractional width is 1. Fractional height in this case is going to also be 1. And next thing we want to create is our group. We're going to have a single group, which is horizontal. So we're going to say a group is going to be NS collection layout group dot horizontal. And this gets created with a layout size of its own, sub items. So we're going to say it has 2 sub items and both of them will be items. So we have 2 things side by side. Let me go ahead and line break this because it's already getting messy. And here we are going to say this is NS collection size again. Width will be a fractional width of 1, and height will be, let's go ahead and hard code this to perhaps, let's try 180. I'm totally just kind of guessing what's going to look good. And finally, we want to create and return a group. So we're going to say return a NS collection, rather not a group. We want to return a section, and the section gets created with our group. So go ahead and hit Command B. You should be hopefully compiling if I didn't break anything. And what we are going to do is we are going to now take this collection view. We're going to add it as a subview here. You guys know the drill. We're going to assign its delegate, if I can go ahead and paste it correctly, as well as its data source, as well as its background color to be system background. One other cool thing you could do is we created this collection view directly with an assignment. If you created this with an anonymous closure, you could in fact actually put the registrations for the cells in the anonymous closure, but we'll do them right down here. We're just going to start by registering a pretty vanilla cell for this collection view, just so we can see our layout. It'll be a collection view cell.self for an identifier of simply cell. And this is going to yell at us about conforming for the collection view. So we will go ahead and add a extension for the search view controller. And of course, we want to say collection view delegate and collection view data source. Number of sections is going to be 1, just like that. Number of items, let's just go ahead and return 40. Let's do 20 instead. That's probably more realistic of how many genres there are. Cell for item and index path. Let's just go ahead and create a cell by dequeuing it with the identifier that we registered. So we're going to dequeue a reusable cell with an identifier of cell for the given index path. We will return the cell to the function. And let's also go ahead and set a color so we can see the actual cell in all of its glory. So system background is not helpful because it'll just be black. We can't see black on black. Go ahead and give it a run. And actually, I forgot to do one pretty important thing, and that is we need to give the collection view a actual size. So let's go ahead and override view did layout subviews. And we're going to say the size of this collection view is going to be view.bounds. Go ahead and give it a run, and we should see what our cells are going to look like with a couple entries here. So we definitely have a bunch of cells, but one thing that I forgot to do is in our layout, we want to add a little bit of inset padding between each of our items and groups. So we're going to say item, and I think it's called content inset. And let's see what the type of this is. It is a NS collection edge inset. So we're going to say this equals NS collection edge insets with a leading top, bottom, and trailing. We'll say maybe 2 on each side. Give it a run. We might need to expand this a little bit more. I know categories have a little more space in Spotify. Let's see why this is yelling at me. This is yelling at me because let's see, edge inset spacing. Oh, this is spacing. We used the wrong one. We want this to be NS collection layout edge insets. Let's see what the type is again. So this is insets, NS collection edge insets. I'm just gonna see if I can copy and paste it in a moment if it doesn't cooperate. NS collection layouts looks like it's not cooperating, or I might just be typing it wrong. So what we are going to do is I'm going to jump into playlists, and let's just copy and paste it in from here because I am feeling a little lazy today. Let's go ahead and copy that there. Oh, it's NS directional insets. That's what it is. That's why I was screwing it up. Okay. Top is 2. Let's make all of these 2. I like leaving these parts in the video when I screw things up myself. I think it paints a more realistic picture of nobody has everything memorized. So if you forget something, you're not alone. Let's go here. Okay, these are looking better, but we should have 2 things side by side. So something's a little strange. Let's see. So we have sub item. Let's do item, and I think this takes a count. So let me do 2, and let's go ahead and line break this. Also, we should have, basically what I'm trying to get is 2 columns where there's 2 cells side by side. Okay, perfect, just like that. But we do want them to be, let's see, we don't want them to be as tall, and we want some more padding. So I'm going to copy this, and we're going to add some padding on the group as well. I keep saying padding. What I really mean is, I guess, content insets. Let's add 10 to the top and 10 to the bottom, and 0 on either side for the group itself. That way, each row, or what it looks like at least, will be further apart like that. And we also want these guys to be a little further apart horizontally. So let's bump up the leading and trailing to, let's say, 7 on each of these. And I don't think we need the height to be perhaps 180. It looks to be a little tall. Let's try 150 and let's see what that looks like. All right. All right, looking much better. So each of these will be a category with a respective cell. If we open this up, we can start searching for stuff and our search results will show up right there. We can clear that and it'll go away. So here is the basic premise of what this screen will look like. Since we're here already, what I'm going to go ahead and do is we are going to just create a custom collection view cell because we're going to need one for that collection view in the next video. So let's go ahead and create this here. It's going to be a UI collection view cell. I will go ahead and call this a genre collection view cell. I actually don't recall if we already wrote out the API for this. I don't think we have yet, but anyways, we're going to start by adding the identifier on here. We also want to override the initializers. You guys know the drill at this point. Fully confident in you. Let's go ahead and give it a background color of system purple. We'll go ahead and override the required initializer. All right, it is not cooperating. Let's try hitting Command B. Let's see, we want this one, the required initializer, just like that. We're going to want layout subviews as well, and say super layout subviews. Now, what we're going to actually do in here is we're going to have a music note at the top right, and then the name of the genre down here towards the bottom left. So that would imply that we need to have 2 subviews in here. And the first one is going to be a image view of type UI image view. Go ahead and create image view in here. You can go ahead and return it. We are also going to give this a content mode of scale aspect fit. We'll also give it a tint color of white. And let's see, we can also just, I guess, assign its image right out the gate since we know it's going to be a system image. I'm going to open up SF symbols so we can find that music note. I want to say it's built in. I could be making that up. We'll find out momentarily. Let's search for music, and okay, there's a bunch of them. Let's go with this one where there's 3 notes. Looks kind of cool. I was going to go ahead and paste that on in. And I have a feeling we're going to want this to be a nice and large note. So we're going to say it has a configuration of UI image, and I think it's symbol configuration. Go ahead and open up the parenthesis for the initializer. And we're going to go with the one that has a point size and a weight. Let's go with a point size of, let's say, 50. We'll go with a weight of regular. We'll see what that looks like. We're also going to need to have a label here. So we're going to create a label. This will actually show like what genre this cell is for, which is kind of the point of this cell, so the user knows what they're tapping on. We're going to go ahead and say the text color of this is also going to be white. The reason I'm using white is because each of these cells is going to have a colorful background. That way the user can actually read, what the text is. I don't want to use system per se, because it might be black on a dark background. We're going to also give it a font of semi-bold. And I think this should be sufficient for now. Here we're going to add subviews to the content view for both the label and the image view. And in the bottom here, we're also going to say prepare for reuse, super prepare for reuse. And we are going to nil out the text labels text. And then we want a function to configure the genre name. So let's say configure with, once again, you can make a view model out of this. I'm just going to say title for the sake of brevity. We'll say label.text is text. And let's lay all this stuff out. So the label will be pretty simple. Its frame is going to be from the X, we'll say 10. The bottom, we're going to say content view dot height subtracting, or we'll say rather height divided by 2, since we'll say it's half the height. Width will be the entire width, subtracting 20. And the height will be content view height divided by 2. Let's see why this is yelling at me. I meant to say title there. And let's also do the image view. So we'll say image view's frame is going to be cdirect. X is going to be content view width divided by 2. Y is going to be 0. Width will be, once again, content view width divided by 2. And height is going to be the height divided by 2. So let's go ahead and register this cell to our collection view. And let's just make sure it looks good. So let's go back to our view controller here. Let's get rid of my antivirus pop-up. All right, search view controller. And then here in our collection view stuff, we're registering a vanilla cell. We're going to register this one with its identifier. And in cell for row, we can go ahead and say guard let for this cell. And the identifier is going to change. All right, we're going to go ahead and cast that. We'll also in here say return a generic cell if need be. And let's see, once we've done that, we can go ahead and say cell.configure with a given genre. Let's go ahead and say rock. And one thing that actually we forgot to do is when we configure, we actually want to go ahead and give this a background color. So what we're going to say is content view background color. We'll just say system pink for now, but we probably want to randomize this. So let's get rid of the background color here. The other thing I'm going to do is on the content view, I'm also going to go ahead and give it a nice corner radius of 8 so it looks a little nicer. And we also need to say masks to bounds true. So go ahead and give that a run and let's see what these cells look like. All right, looking pretty good. So we've got a music note, we've got the genre. It takes a little bit of practice to like visualize all this in your head and just see your end result. So if you have any issues or if you're wondering, like why I prefer to write all the code and then run it, that's kind of why. I think the process is smoother, but if you're struggling, as you're learning, don't think that you need to be like that in the beginning, right? Because everyone knows, or maybe everyone doesn't know, but I can attest that it has taken me many, many years to get here. But anyways, the last thing we'll do here is instead of using pink as the color, we're going to go ahead and say get color, or we can actually say colors dot random elements. I have not created colors yet, so up here, let's create an array of colors, which is going to be a collection of UI color, just like that. And in here, I'm going to just add a bunch of colors that we're going to want to stick with. I'm not sure if the Spotify API will actually return colors to us. If it does, then we will use them instead of defining our own. If it doesn't, we'll have a nice set of system colors here. So we'll do, let's see, blue, purple, green. What else am I missing? We'll say system red, probably say system yellow. You can say system gray, perhaps. System gray might be a little too dark. Looks like there is no dark gray. I think there's a dark gray directly built in. Yep, dark gray. System brown, that's not a thing. Let's see, what else do we have? System yellow, green, blue, orange, purple, pink. Do we have pink already? I think we do. We don't have teal, so we'll add that and we'll call it a day. So there is our array of colors on here. Prefix this with a let, so it's a constant. And down here, we're saying colors that get a random element out of it. So the screen will look different every time you go to it because it'll randomize the colors. So beautiful, looking good. So we've got all of our tiles here now. We just need to now call the API for both getting the genres. And then when we tap on this, of course, we want to push some more content. And what we'll push is basically, I guess, another screen that shows us, albums and featured playlists in that genre. Search is a whole another story. So I'm going to wrap it up here since it's gotten kind of long and we've got this UI built out. If you haven't liked the video yet, make sure to do so before you click away. Comment any questions, errors, suggestions. If you just want to say hi, I love hearing from you guys. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next one.